Race number 1, USGT, brought to you by Team Powers. On the track, this is A1. Topher Cabrales and Scotty Barnes jumping out of that early lead. Then you got a little bit of a gap back to that third place car of Eric Falk. Oh, Scotty Barnes goes sending it down onto the back straightaway. Go, Scott, go. Thank you. Cabrales now out with about a 2-second advantage now on Eric Falk. Falk working up into that second spot. Third spot is Steve Cerruta. Scott Norcross in fourth, Jason Mavrakis in fifth, and you got Barnes back there in sixth, Gus G in seventh. Barnes works his way through some mistakes through there, up into the fourth spot. He splits the C coming through that chicane and comes up into the fourth spot. Cabrales with a 9.5 last time by, out in front and pulling away. Oh, out of the park. Good move from Jason there. 1 minute down and 4 minutes still left to go. Christopher Cabrales with a 9.7 last time by. He's opened up to a 2.5 second advantage now on the field. In that second spot is that bright green car of Eric Falk with Sonoda right behind him. Scotty Barnes right behind him. Jason, that second, third, and fourth right behind you. Eric Falk in that bright green truck arc out in the second spot. Right behind him is a fluorescent red car of Steve Cerruta. Scotty Barnes now up into the third spot. Barnes working his way back up after that early mistake. Here comes Barnes working on Eric Falk, or goes on the inside. Barnes up into the second spot. Falk drops back to third. Cerruta in fourth. Gus G in the fifth spot. Oh, your leader puts it up on the dot. That gives Scott Barnes a chance to close that gap. Here comes Scotty Barnes working his way back up into that second spot, closing in on Cabrales. Top two cars separated by a half a second right now as they come onto the back straightaway. Down the back straight they come. That bright green car of Christopher Cabrales in the lead. Oh, Barnes makes a little mistake off the front straight. We've got 2:15 down and 2:45 still left to go. Leader crosses stripe again. Cabrales with a 9.5. Barnes with a 10.3. 1.5 seconds back. Here comes Eric Falk in that third spot in the yellow and green car. Right behind Scotty Barnes. Barnes in that all black car. We're at that halfway point. 2:30 down and 2:30 still left to go. Cabrales back out in front with a 2-second advantage. Then you got Scott Barnes in second. Eric Falk in third, Scott Norcross in fourth, Steve Cerruta in the fifth spot. Cabrales with a 9.4 last time by, sets fast lap of the race. Barnes with a 9.5, he's still 2 seconds behind your leader with 3 minutes down and 2 minutes left to go. Race number 2 coming up next, F1's coming up next. Cabrales through the chicane right now and in front of me onto the back straight. 9.4 last time by for Cabrales. Second spot still Scott Barnes, 2 seconds back. Top two with 9.5 last time by. Then you got Eric Falk in the third spot, kind of running by himself, 2 seconds behind Barnes. Then you got another 2 seconds back to Scott Norcross in the fourth spot. Steve Cerruta in fifth, Gus G in the sixth spot. Jason Mavrakis in seventh. We've got 1:30 left on the master clock. Cabrales by the stripe with a 9.5. Barnes comes by now, 3 seconds back. Eric Falk right behind Barnes now. As we've got 4 minutes down and 1 minute left to go. F1's coming up next. Race number 2, F1's coming up next. Here comes your leader, Christopher Cabrales, down the back straight one more time, stretching that lead out to just over 3 seconds. Cabrales with a 9.9 last time by. Barnes with a 9.7. Eric Falk with a 9.7. Scott Norcross with a 9.8. We've got less than 30 seconds to go. Cabrales with another 9.6 that time by. Scott Barnes with a 9.5, still 3 seconds back. Everybody kind of spread out right now. Battle for that third, fourth, and fifth with Eric, Scott, and Gus going at it. So we're closing in on time. That is time, drivers. Everybody finish the lap you're on. Scott and Jess, you're done. Christopher Cabrales taking the win in A1. Scott Barnes finishing in second. And that is a race, guys. Taking the win in A1 for USGT's Christopher Cabrales. Race number 8, USGT A2 on the track. Christopher Cabrales taking the win in A1. Your TQ out in front. Scott Barnes right behind him. They've already opened up a little bit of gap. Back to Steve Saruda in the third spot now. Jason Mavrakis in the fourth. They are battling out for that third and back. But your top two are nose to tail on the back straightaway now. Cabrales and Barnes. Barnes doing a little structural engineering on the back straightaway. Leaders already starting to come up on some lap traffic. Oh, they both make a mistake. Cabrales and Barnes both having problems in that chicane. Send it. Here comes your top two cars, nose to tail down the back straightaway. That green car of Christopher Cabrales out in front. Scott Barnes in the black car in the second spot. Gus G up into the third spot in that white car. Gus about 2 seconds behind your leaders. Then you got Jason Mavrakis in the fourth spot. Eric Falk in fifth. Steve Saruda in sixth. Scott Norcross in the sixth spot. Barnes all over the back bumper of Christopher as they come onto the back straightaway. Barnes looks on the inside, takes that inside line down the back straightaway. Scott Barnes out in front. Christopher Cabrales into that second spot. They are nose to tail onto the back straightaway. Barnes makes a little mistake. They go on the inside. They rub again. Barnes back out in front. Cabrales gets a little sideways coming into turn one. Good side-by-side racing from these guys as they come onto the back straightaway. Barnes makes a mistake. Cabrales back out in front. Barnes makes another mistake. Gus G now up into the second spot. Gus G in that all-white car in the second spot. Barnes makes another mistake in third. Topher Cabrales out in front, down the back straightaway. Then you got that all-white car of Gus G in second. Barnes in third. Then in the fourth spot, you've got Jason Mavrakis with Eric Falk in fifth. Watch the front straight. Battle for the lead coming into that chicane right now. You've got Christopher Cabrales out in front. Gus G on the inside can't quite get it done. Here comes Scott Barnes in the third spot. It's going to be a three-way battle for the lead. Coming onto the back straight now. Christopher Cabrales out in front. Gus G in second. Scott Barnes in third. Barnes. Your battle for the lead still going on. Cabrales with Gus G right on his back bumper as they come onto the back straightaway. Both of them with a 9.5. Last time by, they come by the stripe with a 9.5 as well. Gus looks on the inside, taps just a little bit. He lets Cabrales collect and resume their battle. Christopher Cabrales out in front. Gus G in second. Scott Barnes about 5 seconds back in the third spot. Then you got Jason Mavrakis in fourth. Eric Falk in the fifth spot. 3:30 down and 1:30 still left to go. Race number 9 coming up next. F1's coming up next. Topher Cabrales settling down 9.5. That time by Gus G with a 9.6. Top two still nose to tail on the back straightaway. Through that center chicane. Oh, Gus G tags that inside chicane. Cabrales now with a little bit of breathing room. He's got a 5-second advantage back to Gus G. Then you got about 2 seconds back to Scott Barnes in third. Watch it on the back straightaway. Caution going on to the back straight. That is clear. Got about 40 seconds left to go. Topher Cabrales, your TQ out in front. Taking the win in A1, out in front in A2 with 30 seconds left to go. He's got a 4-second gap back to Gus G in that second spot. 15 seconds left on the clock. Cabrales is going to go by for. We get one more in. One more. Watch it coming up onto the back straight. Watch it coming onto this cop right here in front of me. That is cleared. Cabrales is going to go by for one more lap. That is time, drivers. Finish the lap you're on. Here comes your leader down the back straight one final time. Topher Cabrales coming across the line, taking the overall in USGT. That is a race, guys. Topher Cabrales taking the win. Gus G in second. Eric Falk sneaking his way up into the third spot. Tone. Race 15, this is USGT, brought to you by Team Powers. A3 on the track. Topher Cabrales taking the win in A1 and A2. Sitting this one out, your overall winner in USGT, Christopher Cabrales, sitting this one out. You got Scott Barnes out in front. Gus G in that second spot now. Scott Norcross in third. Top two cars in the center chicane right now. Scott Barnes in that all black car. Gus in the white car right behind him. Then you got Scott Norcross in the third spot. Eric Falk not too far back in fourth. Norcross in that yellow and white car. Falk in the green and yellow car closing in. Battle for the lead duo coming through that center chicane. Scott Barnes out in front. Gus G right on his back wing as they come down the front straightaway. Turn into the infield. Barnes out in front. Gus G tucked in on his back wing. 130 down and 330 still left to go. Eric Falk up into the third spot now. Scott Norcross dropping back to fourth. Scott Barnes with a 9.3 last time by. Gus G with a 9.5. They come through the sweeper and down the front straightaway. Gus makes a little mistake. Drops back a couple tenths behind. We've got 2 minutes down and 3 minutes still left to go. Race number 16, F1's coming up next. F1 coming up next. Still got a great battle up front. You got Gus looking on the inside. Couldn't quite hold it in there. All over the back bumper of Scotty Barnes as they come down the back straightaway. Gus closes in, makes a little too early, hits that sweeper. Makes a little mistake that gives Scott Barnes a little bit of breathing room. We're at that halfway point, 230 down and 230 still left to go. You got Barnes, then you got Gus G in second, Eric Falk in third, Scott Norcross in fourth, Steve Saruda in fifth. Barnes finishing in second in A1, finished fourth in A2. Back to that battle up front. Gus G closing back in on Barnes. Top two cars, nose to tail, coming onto the back straightaway now. Scott Barnes comes across the line, this time by with a 9.5. Gus G with a 9.6. Gus starting to close back in. We got less than 2 minutes to go. Barnes with a 9.5, Gus with a 9.4. Eric Falk in the third spot, about 3 seconds behind these guys. Closest battle is for the lead right now through that center chicane. Gus really closes in on that second half of that straight. Here they come onto the back straight one more time. Gus looks on the inside. Through the sweeper they come. Oh, Gus hits that dot, able to keep it going. Here they come onto the back straightaway with 120 left to go. Gus really closes in on that front straightaway area. Here they come by the stripe again. You got Barnes with a 9.5, Gus with a 9.6. Less than 1 minute to go. Oh, Gus G really closing in through the sweeper, looking around that high side. Couldn't quite stick it as they got 45 seconds left to go. Gus G all over the back bumper of Scotty Barnes. Oh, turns in too early through that sweeper. Second time for him doing that. That's going to drop him half a lap back. That's going to give Scott Barnes all the breathing room he needs. We got about 30 seconds left to go. $15 seconds left to go. Oh, Barnes hits that chicane. 10 seconds to go. Scotty gets by for one more lap. Gus gets by for one more lap. That is time. Drivers, finish the lap you're on. Scott Barnes coming down the back straightaway and cross the line, taking the win in A3. That will put Scott Barnes in second overall. Gus G coming home in second. Gus G will bring it home third overall in the USGT, brought to you by Team Powers.